Let's talk about some of those agencies, specifically the DOJ and the FBI. You've compared the DOJ and FBI to the KJB in hearings with AG Garland as well as FBI Director Christopher Wray. So tell me what reforms you specifically want to see both in the FBI and the DOJ.
Well, I think it's all about the money. I think, unfortunately, the core functions of these agencies that should be dealing with serious criminals, with cartels, with drug trafficking, human trafficking, they're not performing. And they go after law-abiding Americans. They try to make, school-board parents to put them in domestic terrorist lists because they're unhappy how terribly their kids are educated. Well, I think they should be way more unhappy. The parents should be probably, demonstrating every state house, and demanding the states to do something. Only 30% of our kids are eligible to go in the military. We have some of the lowest achievements and educational outcomes. And we cannot have a country where 20% of people will be pulling 80. We need to have 80% of population be able to help 20. We will always be able, we'll have people that need to help, but we need to educate children, give them skills, empower them to live in a tough society, which is getting much more fast-paced, and get fundamental skills. I mean, we have some schools in regions where only 10% of kids can read, and they still graduated for schools. I mean, this is a criminal what we do in that. So I think they should be upset about it, and we need to deal with that. But I think we need to go back and see what's happening within these agencies. And, you can see like a Durham report, right? They pretty much did a setup to take presidential candidate, President Trump at that time, and no one got punished. And a lot of these agencies, get away to scheming, to be able to not enforce the law or decide to come after political opponents. So I think there should be consequences, and people should pay a price for using government power to abusing government power. And I think this is something we need to do some reforms inside and look at what's happening with some of these, people that should be losing clearances. And some of them, should be probably some charges should be pressed, but they should be investigated. And I think we need to make sure that we're spending money and authorizing this agency. DOJ and FBI hasn't been authorized for decades. So I hope, Chairman Jordan will actually set up. I've been pushing for him this Congress, and hopefully he will start doing it, like a authorization subcommittee where we will have hearings about all of these programs, and they're going to come to the table. And a lot of people are going to say why they need money and tell us what they're spending, and we're going to decide if we should be giving them money or not.
I know that you said that the DOJ, the FBI should be investigated here. What do you think those probes should specifically look like?
Well, I think, and I think if you saw that, look at them. FISA, warrantless surveillance with the FBI and the abuses, right? So we need to look some of the key areas where they abuse it. We still don't have a good system. We passed reauthorization, but I think, we still don't have a good, even the internal audit wasn't able to set up system and make sure that, they have proper controls, that they're not abusing the system. But we set up very, very broad laws, and the authorization of FISA still allows warrantless surveillance, collection of data. So I think it should be looked at that. And maybe hopefully, fortunately, we didn't reauthorize it, for 5 years. It's only for 2 years. So I think we will have an opportunity under this president, maybe fix it and see what they're doing. There are a lot of things in the system where they're using power of the government to survey people illegally, unconstitutionally. This is very serious. If we turn us into surveillance KGB state, people will lose all of the powers. And I think we'll need to look at some laws and protection, and maybe as part of that, respond with some laws, and specifically with laws how we can limit the power abuses of that they're spent on true criminals, not on Americans that they don't like, that, they're willing to stand up and say something against the government. This is like a Soviet Union when I grew up, when you say something about government, you might be in jail, or they'll put you like in some mental institution or send criminals on you. That's what we are becoming. That's very, very dangerous.